Hi guys, it's Carissa, and if you are not familiar with my channel, please excuse my sort of laryngitis-like state. It's not there yet, but I'll get there. I'm gonna try and do this quickly so that I don't lose my voice too fast. But at the tail end of my pregnancy, I have developed a cough, and it takes my voice right away in a short period of time. So I'm gonna try not to talk too much. Today I'm going to talk to you about my birth plan. The birth plan I never thought I'd write, but that seemed like a good idea once a few pieces of the pregnancy puzzle started coming together, and I felt like it was just best to make sure that I was informing the labor and delivery staff of a few different aspects of the pregnancy. Honestly, if you had asked me before I sat down to write this, I would have said, oh, I only have 2 or 3 bullet points. But it ended up being much longer than that. I have almost a full page here, but I did make the font quite large, and I printed it on nice thick paper. I have 2 copies of it here. I may wish that I had more than that, but at this point, this is what I'm working with. The focus of this is mostly based on just providing information and making a few requests pertaining to my stay. It's really not about a plan in itself. You can find templates online that give you so much information on what you may or may not want to specify for a birth plan. I didn't want to plan too far ahead because I know that there's really very little that I can control once I'm in that room. I have risk factors for different issues and different ailments, and I just want to be safe. I want my baby to be safe, and I want the best decisions made based on the medical staff who has proper training and not just what I would prefer. If another woman has a completely different situation, her health is different, her age, her risk factors, and she wants to try and control more of the experience and tailor it to what she wants, I respect that. I also feel that if I've learned anything from other pregnant women in my life, it's that the longer your birth plan is and the longer your wish list is for your birth, the more likely you are to be disappointed, because the more you hope and expect out of the experience, the less likely all of that is to fall into place. I know that's not true for everybody, but it seems like a pretty consistent issue. And I know some women who were very traumatized by the experience that they had giving birth, and they wish that they hadn't wished so hard for certain things. So that helps guide me to make a very small list, but please know that I respect anyone who wants to make as thorough a list as possible. The first 2 things on my list are the reasons why I made a birth plan, because it's information I wanted the staff to have for sure. I know it's stuff that would come up at some point, but I wanted it to be right there, concrete, in writing for them to see. And it says, please note that the first checkbox says, have group B strep. I actually tested positive for group B strep. And the second checkbox says, we'll be keeping my placenta for consumption via encapsulation. So I need to make sure that they're aware that that is our plan, to take the placenta. The next criteria says, during labor, first checkbox, I'd only like my partner to be present and for the entire time. The second checkbox says, I'm not opposed to pain relief if and when needed, but no, I may try to postpone it if possible. I have no idea how I'll react to being in labor. I have no idea how much pain I'll be able to tolerate or how quickly the labor will progress or not. So I don't want to assume that I will be able to just power through without any medications. I want them to know that if I can hold off, I'd like to, but I don't want to wait to the point where it's too late if that ends up being a possibility. So I know that even that request is very circumstantial, but just so that they know what my expectation is, I'm not against it, but I prefer not to if I can. My third bullet point is, as the baby is delivered, I would like to, first, use whatever methods my doctor deems necessary. I don't want a C-section, but I want a healthy baby, and I want a healthy, safe delivery. And if that is looking like it is a possibility, I don't want to fight it. Second bullet point, do whatever is safest for both myself and the baby. Next, if a C-section is necessary, I would like, 1, to stay conscious, 2, my partner to remain with me the entire time, 3, placenta to not come into contact with chemicals of any kind. And this again is because we are keeping it for consumption. Next, I would like to hold baby immediately after delivery. I would like to breastfeed. 1, as soon as possible after delivery, and 2, with the help of a lactation specialist. I didn't take any lactation or breastfeeding classes. I didn't end up working with a doula. I may not need a specialist, or I may need her a lot. So I'm just gonna put that down so that they know that I am open to it. And finally, during my stay, 1, I would like my partner to sleep in my room. 2, I would prefer my room to not be kept too hot, please. That is one of the things that I really wanted to mention because my sister gave birth at this same hospital. A couple of the nurses really gave her a hard time and would crank the heat up and scold her and make her feel really badly for the temperature in the room. And I just want it to be known that I don't want it to be too hot, and I will be uncomfortable if it is. And this last request is one of the original 3 reasons why I thought I should make a birth plan, because of an experience my sister had. She was kept at the hospital 2, almost 3 days longer than she needed to be because of her blood pressure. But the staff kept checking her blood pressure while she had visitors, and some of the visitors, even though they're family and she loves them very much, were stressing her out. So it wasn't right for them to check the blood pressure then because it was elevated and it was a false reading. And that led them to believe she needed to stay longer and be monitored. But they kept checking her when she had visitors. So I asked simply, please do not take my blood pressure during or immediately after a visit. Though I will be limiting those who come to see me, I know there's a chance my blood pressure will be negatively affected by certain visitors. And again, we all love our friends and family, but certain circumstances can cause our bodies to react differently. You know, my blood pressure is very sensitive and it can spike really quickly just based on emotions. And I've experienced that in some of my appointments for my prenatal care. I don't want to risk extending my stay unnecessarily by having them come in and check my blood pressure when I have a visitor. Just in case somehow that stresses me out or a circumstance I'm in stresses me out. It's all gonna be so new to me. There's gonna be so much going on. And I did discuss that with my doctor and she actually said it was a really good idea. So that made me feel encouraged to put it on our birth plan. But that is it. There are so many other things that can be added to a birth plan. I asked my husband if he wanted to cut the umbilical cord and he said, no, let the professionals do that. So, you know, there are a lot of different things that you can add. If you have any questions or if you would like to know how this worked out for us later, I can always go over that in a future video. But that is it, and I think that's all I've got left of my voice. So thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.